G'day, Franny. How you doing? Thanks for the nomination, mate. Got some reservations about it. It's had a bit of bad press on this side of the world, but hey, you get that. And I think it's probably a discussion I need to have with Robbo. And that'll come up at some stage. Mate, the other quandary I was left in was to do with the originality of what you did on your nomination, which was bloody good. And I did think about playing your song, but my guitar playing skills headed south around about the same time as Lakey headed east. And you, better than anyone, would be able to see the correlation between those two events. So I decided I might tell you a little bit of a story just to remind you of home. And it's the tale of Billy Hayes from out near Alice Springs. A wild young ringer in his day, done some crazy things. He jumped bulls over fences, raced a colt up Ayres Rock. Said his legs weren't made for walking, they were made for riding stock. A legend on the rodeo from Allaroon on to Broome. An untried horse at 6 a.m. was saddle broke by noon. No form of equine foolery Bill wasn't going to try. Only one thing ever spooked him. He was way too scared to fly. If I was meant to do it, I'd have feathers and a beak. You take the plane there in a day, I'll drive and waste a week. They say they're safe as houses, mechanically they're sound, but I don't see no rope or bright, so I'm sticking on the ground. But one day Billy got a phone call from his mate in Adelaide. He got his girl in trouble, so the wedding cards were played. He said, Bill, I don't care how you do it. You can beg or steal or borrow. But mate, you got to catch the plane because the big day's on tomorrow. Well, Billy cursed and spat it. He said, the dopey fucking coot. He knows I'd jump on anything that's coming out of chute. I've caught stallions that'd kill you. Caught bulls gone off the brain. Never thought there'd come a day I'd have to catch a plane. But he legged it to the airport and thought, well, this is it. And the girl behind the counter said, sir, where would you like to sit? He says, you know that black box thing they always seem to find? Well, you can put me right inside it if you wouldn't bloody mind. The girl just smiled politely, said, sir, I'll just take your bag. And Billy said, I don't bloody think so. And by the way, it's called a swag. Well, Bill was sweating buckets when they finally cleared the strip. He had his seatbelt on so tight that he was bleeding from the hip. But when they levelled out, he stopped shaking at the knees. He looked around, relaxed, and thought, this flying game's a breeze. And the captain crackled something. Bill asked the hostess what was said. Sir, you'd better buckle up. There's some turbulence ahead. Turbulence? What's that? Sir, it's pockets caused by heat. And when it gets severe, it can throw you from your seat. Throw me, I'll be buggered. Bill pushed his seat right back, wrapped his legs around his swag and stuck his left hand through the strap. He jammed down his cobra. He was ready now to ride. And things got pretty bumpy and Billy yelled, outside! Well, the plane, she dropped 1,000 feet, rose up 500 more. When his head near hit the ceiling, he gave a mighty roar. He said, I've rode all through the territory, never come unstuck. So give me all you got, big bird, and buck, you bastard, buck. And while the passengers were screaming in fear of certain death, Billy whooped and hollered till he near ran out of breath. You'd have thought that canvas swag was welded to his ass. And before the ringer knew it, he bucked through to business class. There seemed no way to tame this creature. It had 10 gears in reverse. Didn't worry Billy, he just bucked on through to first. He did somersaults with triple spins on this mongrel mount from hell. He yelled out to the pilot, for Christ's sake, ring the bell. Bill was bleeding from the bugle. He had cuts above both eyes. If you weren't there on the spot, you'd probably think I was telling lies. He'd been upside down and inside out, done flips and triple spins. You might have seen some great rides in your time, but hands down, Billy wins. Well, the flight returned to normal. Bill was flat out in the deck. Still stuck to his swag, but he looked a bloody wreck. He pulled himself together, stood up straight and raised his hat. He said, I've had some tough rides in me time, but never one like that. An 8-second spin in Alice proves you made of sturdy stuff. I was on there near a minute. I reckon that's enough. Well, the first class folk were dumbstruck at this crazy ringer's feat. Bill just grabbed a crownie and he walked back to his seat. Now years have passed and Bill's long give the bucking game away. Too many breaks and dusty miles for far too little pay. Planes are not a problem. In fact, he'd rather fly than ride. And when you talk about his maiden voyage, his chest puffs out with pride. You can talk about your Rocky Neds and that old chainsaw bloke. I'd ride 'em both without a rope and roll a bloody smoke. There's cowboys round that think they're hot, but they ain't tasted heat till they've ridden time on Turbulence at 30,000 feet. And with that, old son, chug a lug.